And by the way, real quick, I don't expect any of you to take this advice because it's too scary. But I really hope I can inspire one of you to do it, because it's exactly how you get a job at VaynerMedia, which would be a much better place to get a job than any other agency in this city. Hey guys, so thanks for having me, class. A couple things that are running through my mind that I want to start with. First of all, I think when you start talking about digital and social, it's super important to understand that it's really about attention, right? It's not necessarily digital or social. I'm not overly romantic or passionate about Facebook or Instagram or Skype or YouTube. To me, it's just, where do I think the attention is, and where do I think that it's overpriced, and where do I think that it's underpriced? And my fascination with digital and social is a lot of it is underpriced, but to be very frank, a lot of it is overpriced. What as a marketer and other people have to deal with in big companies is they have to measure things and put them into, you know, data and reports. And what I have the luxury of is to trade on intuition and other cultural variables that give me my decisions. Plus, I'm running a marathon while a lot of people are running a sprint. What I mean by that, class, is I don't have to pander to the short-term profit margins that big companies and small companies have to, because I'm not incentivized by dollars in the short term. I'm looking for the long term. And so what does that all mean? It means that I've been very passionate about being historically correct, whether that was email or search or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or podcasting or, you know, whatever it may be. And so for me, it's very binary, very black and white. What's a good use of my time and money and what is not? And as we sit in this room today, there are certain things that over-index and certain things that under-index. So for example, digital. I could love digital, but I know none of you are watching the majority of pre-rolls that you get targeted by. None of you are clicking on banner ads. None of you are carefully reading emails. None of you want spam texts in your text. You're not excited about the ads that are being read to you broken up when you're listening to Pandora. You definitely don't like a mid-roll ad. You're watching a YouTube vlog and all of a sudden there's a car ad in the middle of the show. It's like super like shocking and makes no sense. So there's a ton of terrible digital. At the same token, I think everybody's going through their feeds on Facebook and Instagram and that they are grossly underpriced for now. I think a lot of you will start to tune out feeds in a decade, but for now it's super underpriced. And that's because the biggest brands in the world don't spend enough money in these channels. Pepsi or Toyota or BMW or GE, I just don't think they spend enough in Facebook and Instagram. And you have to understand this, unlike other digital properties like Vice or Refinery 29, where there's a basement of cost, like there is none of that in Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat because they're marketplaces, right? So if you go to a publisher like Turner or CBS or BuzzFeed, there's a minimum threshold before they'll work with you. Because they're running a smart business. But on Facebook, all of us can run $7 worth of ads on there right now. We can all run $7 worth of ads on there right now. And I think that's a very big deal. Very important to understand, because when you understand the market, the aspects of a market, and what a true marketplace is, it leads to overpriced and underpriced variables. There's good and bad deals. And so the things I'm spending my time on right now are Snapchat's being left for dead, yet the ad product is really underpriced for people under 30 in America. If you're 40 to 70 on Facebook, you're a very good target for ads, very inexpensive in my opinion. You know, Instagram's incredible for culture, 18 to 35, very underpriced. The ad product, the influencers on Instagram are unbelievably underpriced. For 18 to 35, 18 to 45 on the coasts, 18 to 35, 15 to 35 in the middle. So I'm just completely passionate that digital, if you want to call it, is the right answer for a lot of you in this room to do marketing and build businesses on. I'm just worried that 80% of the digital can be spent on garbage. And so I think the landmine that you guys need to be thinking about the landmine that you guys need to be thinking about is it a good deal or a bad deal? And that's what I would spend all my time on as a marketer and as an executor in this environment. And I think there's a big disconnect between the best and the worst. And I think the best comes from entrepreneurs that are, stuck and good entrepreneurs, because a lot of entrepreneurs are terrible at marketing, but good entrepreneurs that are stuck and need every penny to work hard. And I think the worst are the biggest brands in the world that have tons of flush money and are just mailing it in and putting a lot of money in bad places. So that is my thesis class. Linda, I'd love to answer some questions.
Creative, as well as making sure we're pushing them at where they're most receptive, which is why we're investing on merch. But you mentioned some of the limitations, right? I also work for a boss that loves the epic film, right? So we've talked here about what trade-offs between long and short content.
Yep, so class, long form, short form, it's a very big debate. And it makes a lot of sense to Lynn and I, we're in it every day, but let me get to the punchline. There are shitty 6-second vines, and I would watch a 7-hour Star Wars film because it's Star Wars. I would say that the length is far less a variable than people make it out to be, because we need to talk more about the quality. We need to talk more about the quality of the content in the context of the platform. So in an ideal world, we would make incredible content that's a minute. A minute's a great context, right? Great little slide. But I love 3-minute videos if they keep your attention. I love 6-second videos if it could get the point across. It's a variable, but it's been very overstated in debating the length. To me, it's the context of the content to the audience that it's targeting. This is a pretty gangster move. The Skype started not working, so I'm just gonna sneak in a quick tweet promotion of the new episode of DailyVee.
Hello?
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, okay, so ready?
Yep.
So here's the class again, you can see everybody. All right, so I have them in advance to think of questions for you. So we're gonna see who has a question.
Hi, what's going on? Big Hot Ones fans, Garyvee, thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Parker, this is Ryan. I'm Rob, how are you? So I wanted to ask you specifically about transparency in terms of digital marketing. So on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, do you think going forward that transparency is the most important thing, just so that the advertisements that they're putting up there can function as they're supposed to?
So
also going along with that, just wanted to say, cleanest bones in Hot Ones
yes.
history.
Yes.
Really proud. Cleanest bones.
I love it. Thank you for that. Literally, being known as cleanest bones by you two is greater than being on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine, so thank you, bros. So let's define transparency, because people throw it around in a lot of ways. How do you define, what's the rub? What do you think the rub is? What are you focused on?
Right. So for Facebook, I know it's really important. Recently, they announced that they're going to start announcing whether the ad is from a Russian source, or on YouTube. I know there was a big scandal back in like early 2010, 2011, when Microsoft was paying YouTubers, but they weren't announcing that the ad revenue from them.
Yeah, I mean, look. I think that on the surface, everybody in this class is going to be like, yay, transparency, right? I think in real life, everybody in this classroom would be devastated on how much they don't give a shit about transparency. Like humans are very funny, right? We talk about things, let me give you an example. Everybody loves to talk about the environment in this class. Everybody in this class right now, when I talk about oil companies, would be like, boo, right? The sweater that you're wearing right now, bro, which is super fashionable, good job.
You know how many people died to make this sweater?
It's not even that. You wanna hear something pretty interesting?
Sure.
That company is doing a ton worse to the environment. Textiles is destroying our environment.
Oh, I believe it.
Do you think everybody in this room wants to give up their Yeezys and their Supremes? So let me tell you what I think. I think that 90% of the stuff we talk about doesn't match our actions, right? So I think transparency is super important for upside, not downside. I think what's good for put hashtag ad is it gets the benefit. I think that you had to do real fucking research to figure out the Microsoft YouTube thing that nobody gives a shit about.
Fair. Thank you so much.
You got it.
All right, let's go to the next row.
Let's do it.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, guys.
My name's Luke Heffernan. We actually share a birthday. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
So question, I know you're a huge Knicks fan, and so the NBA this year, they introduced the sponsors on the jersey. And so I myself am a big NBA fan, and I'm also a huge cycling fan. And so cycling teams are born and die due to sponsors they're named after and everything.
Yep.
So do you think that, obviously, like the big four speaks of sponsors, but do you think this is a trend that we're going to see continue, whether it be sponsors on the jersey or sponsors on helmets or socks?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
And where do you think it's going to go? How far do you think it's going to go to the point where it's like?
I think the NBA jersey in 16 years could look like a soccer jersey.
Interesting.
I think it's going to be a game of some sports will go with the Walmart model and some sports will go with the kind of Cartier model, right? Like I could see the NFL doing one logo like the NBA right now, and I can see the NBA going with 6 logos and baseball being 2 and hockey being 1 and
Right.
And then we also have to figure out in 20 years, esports and MMA and things of that, the big 4. I mean, hockey's not a big 4, right?
No, not anymore.
And how does it play out? Like baseball took all the short-term money by creating BAM. None of you can find a YouTube video or Instagram about baseball. That's going to play out in 20 years, right? And has football hit its apex because of politics and concussions? So, the big 4 might be esports, soccer, MMA, and basketball, and then this conversation goes into a whole different place because the other 3 have fresh slates, and it was really only about the NBA, which is ironically, weirdly, intriguingly, the one that's starting with it, right?
Exactly, yeah. Perfect, thank you so much.
You got it.
All right. Next row, anyone? I'll just say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you have a question?
Okay. Hi, Gary.
Hi.
I'm Rosie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So most of us in this class are studying marketing as our degrees. So we're doing a lot of interviews for internships. So do you have any tips for interviewing?
For the interview itself?
Yes, for a marketing position.
I would tell you the number one thing you should do is be disproportionately honest.
Okay.
I think the biggest mistake that people make in interviews is they play a part. Like none of you, and I mean none of you, are actually gonna act normal in any of these interviews. And let me tell you why. I'd rather you not get any jobs, right? Mm-hmm. Than to have to keep up that facade inside that place.
That makes sense.
It's kind of like die by your sword, right? Like be you.
Yeah.
Like be you and be like, I don't understand, like look, and I'm giving you advice that I've taken and I've been front row seat to this. A lot more people are comfortable with the things I'm saying today than they were 6 years ago, right? And a hell of a lot more are gonna be comfortable in 6 years, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're in these interviews, when people start asking you questions, I don't know, I don't care, or I think that's ridiculous, are answers none of you guys are gonna say, and I think they're the actual right answers that can start your career off in an incredible way.
Okay.
And by the way, real quick, I don't expect any of you to take this advice because it's too scary. But I really hope I can inspire one of you to do it because it's exactly how you get a job at VaynerMedia, which would be a much better place to get a job than any other agency in this city.
And I agree with it. I hire for authenticity. I don't want somebody playing a role, but somebody's going to bring a diverse perspective to my team.
And that's exactly right, guys. Like you may get lucky and get somebody who is like, why am I doing this? I get asked by all my clients to do it. It's because she's an outlier, right? For the right reasons. And so you could go into where she is, or you can come to an entrepreneurial place like I am. But it's just, you just want to die on your sword, right? Like you're gonna give them answers that you think they want to hear. So when they bring up something that you don't believe in, but you learned it in this class, you're gonna answer with the class notes, and that's a mistake. You need to go with what you believe. Now you may not know. You don't just blindly believe that Snapchat's awesome, but if you believe something, you have to die on that sword.
Are you saying they don't believe everything I teach them? Come on, Gary.
I definitely believe that to be the case. And what I think is more interesting is I have all the advantages because of Hot Ones and Instagram and all the things I'm having, and they don't believe everything I'm saying either, and that's the point, right? Let them, they should die on their sword. Not if I've got a moment in time right now where I'm cool and then blindly parrot what I say. They need to, you know what I mean? Or they respect the system or your history. They just need to form their own opinions and answer on those opinions.
Front row.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
I'm Josie. Thanks for chatting with us. I wanted to know, you're really great at forecasting kind of what the next big thing is in the marketing world, and you express augmented reality to be one of those things. So I was just wondering if you see any current leaders right now in augmented reality and what we can learn from them.
It's a Facebook and Snapchat world when it comes to AR, right? The only thing I see that's interesting in AR is the way that they're playing with filters and kind of those kind of things. The fact of the matter is everybody in this room is gonna really like when AR is really good. Imagine you literally can take 35 minutes because software is that good to post an Instagram post of you dancing with your 6th grade boyfriend, because you literally took a photo of him, were able to manipulate it. The level of creativity that AR is gonna allow us is gonna be so remarkable. But the leaders are Facebook and Snapchat because of what they've been buying up, the startups they've been buying up. And then you gotta look at Apple and Google because they own the phones, right?
Right.
And so if they make it default when we take a photo, well, that's an interesting arbitrage, right? So you don't need an app, it's just part of the phone. So I think it's gonna happen in mobile. I think long term it's gonna happen in contact lenses. I think you, especially how young you are, will live a life where your brain will control your contact lens. In essence, your brain will control your new eye, and you will switch from real life, augmented reality, and to virtual reality, a mixed reality world where you can have the choice. How awesome would it be in this class when it's a little bit boring for you to switch something and what you're actually doing is living in a virtual reality world. And so I think that's cool.
Right. I hope contacts don't get banned because I actually need them, so thank you.
I don't think they're gonna get banned. I think you wanna talk about radical transparency. I'm so happy for you and all the other women in this class that in 7 years, we're gonna know that you might be live streaming right now through your contact lenses.
Right? Watch out.
I mean it. I have a funny feeling that's gonna have one of the great impacts on our society.
Thank you.
Any last questions? Yeah.
Hi, Leo again. So quick question. In your opinion, what's more valuable? Interning with, say, a startup who's just getting going, or someone who, even a startup that's grown a little bit more than, say, some of the other ones, or starting your own startup and starting your own company, even if it's bound to fail?
100% predicated on the person's ability to be self-aware and understand who they are. If you're an entrepreneur, start a company and fail. If you're not, the first one.
Okay, perfect. One more quick Hot Ones question because I can't. How hot was the last dab?
Was that the third to last one or the last one?
The last one.
Not even remotely close to as hot as the third to last. The one that.
The bomb.
Yeah.
Insanity. That's what everyone says. I tried it recently. My brain melted. It hurts. It's the back of the throat.
They go by that scoring system, right?
Yeah. Scovels.
And as somebody who grew up in the wine business where, a wine could get 95 points, 92 points, I promise you that they misrated those last 3 wings.
Wow. What's the best one out of the 10?
I loved 7, the one right before the insanity one, the 8th one.
Yeah. And the Scotch Bonnet one I've heard is really good too.
Dude, you guys need to really question how hardcore you are about Hot Ones. I'm kidding.
I've wasted so much time. I analyzed your video for this class too.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Oh yeah.
Apparently I need to watch this.
Oh, it's really good, Linda. You're gonna like it.
It's the smartest talk talk show available right now.
Okay. All right, one last question back on topic.
Yes.
So we've talked a lot in this class about the importance of social influencers.
Yes.
Give brands credibility, reach, amplification. And I think Vayner has a really unique point of view on how to leverage them. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So class, I think it's so I think about inefficiencies. Facebook's inefficient because Pepsi, Diageo, BMW should be spending more there, which means it's cheaper. Got it? Very simple. Humans are the most inefficient thing in the world. So influencers are super interesting to me. For example, some people think they should get $5,000 a post because they bought a ton of fucking fans on Instagram, right? Ludicrous. Meanwhile, on the flip side, an alpha mom, right? A woman in Short Hills, New Jersey, that is the alpha mom that affects 400 other women of high income around products and services may want $100 for a post on Instagram, and it's worth $10,000, $50,000. Got it? So we at Vayner treat it like media. Like, so for example, if I was who's becoming culturally irrelevant, I would buy 78,000 people on Instagram, not 3 personalities. I don't think about influencers like endorsements, right? Or spokespeople. I think about influencers as in buying media, right? Scale, and buy 78,000 people inefficiently. I think it's an incredible opportunity, especially for the people in here that are starting startups. You can hit real pay dirt with influencers.
Sorry, so just to clarify, so it's more about contextualization within the field rather than like cachet. You'd rather have like a person that has like a blog that reaches 1,000 people.
Nope, no. I would love Kim Kardashian if she's willing to be underpriced and she fits my brand.
Fair.
Got it?
Okay.
So I think there's cachet in both, right? Again, the #1 PTA mom in St. Louis is the #1 fucking PTA mom to those 700 people. So I think the cachet is contextualized, right? Like for example, you guys, like the thought that a 42-year-old businessman would have been cool to people in their 20s 5 years ago is laughable, right? But I have figured out how to contextualize myself to make myself relevant to you guys, right? While that wasn't me manipulating it, it was riding the wave of entrepreneurship being put on a pedestal. And then I got lucky because I grew up in an environment that was a little bit more urban. I was a shitty student. I had some level of swag that made it authentic for me to go on Hot Ones and be able to talk about Post Malone or Cardi B or Lil Xan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it goes back to what you said at the beginning around getting the right value for your money, right?
That's it.
Some are overvalued, some are undervalued, but depending on your business objectives, what your brand is trying to do, and making sure you get the right reach within the right context.
To that point, class, I think the Super Bowl is the #1 deal in marketing. Right? That's not digital. That's a TV commercial that I like to shit on all the time, but I think it's the best deal because everybody sees it. Whether you see it on YouTube or you watch it. All of you at your young youth will watch the Super Bowl ads. Forget about you being in marketing class. 4 years ago, 6 years ago when you were in high school and junior high, you still saw the Super Bowl ads. That's incredible penetration and awareness.
Can I ask you a question about that then?
Yep.
So, has been telling us that she is not going to be running an ad, and since you guys run her company, what do you think about that then?
I think that they should run Super Bowl, right? But we don't plan their media, we do their creative, and so that is against my strategy. Now, just so you guys know, for all the coolness that's going on in my life, I don't think I'm right about everything, but I really, really, really do believe I'm very passionate about our strategy on Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lidim. I love you. Take care. Bye, class. He's the coolest.
They gon' try to freeze you when you heating up. They gon' hold you back cause they ain't keeping up. But you never let them in, never let them in. But you never let them in, never let them in. Stay out the way, fuck everybody, keep going. I said stay out